Hi, this is Caroline Della Victoria, and today's topic is on the school of tomorrow. So, what's my school of tomorrow? In my school, there will be no issues of funding or money. Teachers will be able to get the things that they need for their classroom with no problem. Of course, it must be for education and something that's going to benefit the children. It just can't be, purchased for anything. Technology will be in every classroom and students will have internet access from their homes. So no more, this student has internet, my other students don't have internet. No more problem. Internet will be available at school and at home at no cost to the parents. So that should be awesome. Each student will have their own laptop, their own iPad, a handheld video camera for video recording and for taking still images. I think this is a great feature for them to have, specifically because with this video camera slash camera, students will be able to use it for note taking. Basically, they'll be able to take pictures or video of, you know, um, something that they want to remember. Let's say they go on a field trip and they want to remember, let's say they went to the ocean or to the Long Beach Aquarium and they wanted to remember a specific fish, but they don't have time to write it down. They don't have a pen. They don't have they don't have paper. They don't have anything but the camera. So they can take a photo of the picture of the fish and the name of the fish if available, and then they can come back to school and do research on it and, basically learn more from what they took from the field trip. So that's why I want them to have that video recording slash camera. Another thing I would have for my school of tomorrow is, this is for you teachers and for students too, but teachers will love this. There will be a small ratio of students. Okay, teachers will have a small ratio of students. One teacher for every 12 students. I believe this is a good number for teachers to manage and to have that quality teaching. I also think this is a great number for students to have in the classroom for interaction with their peers and for group learning. Many of our classrooms today are overcrowded, sometimes with 30 to up to 40 students in the classroom. I really don't know how teachers do it, trying to get to each student. I mean, maybe they don't even get to each student, and that's the sad thing. And it's not their fault. It's just the way our system is at right now. It's not working. So 30 students or 40 students in the classroom, I wouldn't begin to imagine if I can get to each of them to make sure that they mastered what I'm teaching them. So it's pretty near impossible. So small ratios, that's what I'm going for. That's a really big issue for me, and that's going to be in my school tomorrow. Okay, so like another thing that we're going to have in my school tomorrow is teachers are going to have support. They're going to have support from teachers' aides, and these, teachers' aides will help with scaffold learning and for extra teaching support. I know some classrooms have already teachers' aides, but it's not mandatory. It's not in every classroom. This is going to be in every classroom. There's going to be support. And just because, it takes a village to raise a child, and it takes a big village to raise some children. So taking that concept and bringing it into the classroom, more help is better than one. And if we go with that motto, I think the children are going to benefit from the learning. Teachers are going to be less stressed and be able to provide quality teaching to our students. And it's just going to be a great thing overall. Okay, so support in our classroom. Another thing that's really big in my school is that there will be less paperwork. Okay, less paperwork. My school tomorrow, its philosophy is about intrinsic learning, exploration, and discovery. It's about teaching the whole child and not teaching to the test. So students will be able to learn appropriate standards they'll be able to learn the appropriate standards that they need to know without the constraints and without restrictions from the pacing guides that teachers have. So, no more heavy duty paperwork, because our teachers are going to be intrinsically, motivated and just wanting to teach our children. They're lifelong learners, as it is, and they want to spread that knowledge that they have and the love for education that they have to our students. So it's not going to be a big issue for our teachers because they already love learning and this is what they want to do. So we don't need paperwork to push them into teaching our children because it's going to happen. Okay, moving on. Another thing in my school is that my school is going to be designed in the fashion of lecture and laboratory. Our colleges are already designed this way. I think it makes sense to apply this in our primary grades, in our middle schools, in our high schools. It just makes sense. Why not prepare our students for the future, for college and for the universities? This is how they're teaching. Why not set that up from the get-go? Students don't even know how to take notes, and I can tell you from my own experience, it was really difficult to get into the college routine because it was such a new idea. It was new. Who knew about 3-hour lectures and then labs and taking notes and things like that. Of course, it's not going to be that long for our students. It's going to be age appropriate for them. But the idea is there. The concept is there. So lecture for some parts and then laboratory. And the laboratory, I really am enforcing this is because it's something that students can get their hands on. They can apply what they just learned from the lecture. And it's something that's in some physical form. I know for me, my learning is I need to see it, I need to hear it, I need to feel it, I need to breathe it, I just need to do, all the senses need to be there for me to really retain the new knowledge that I'm getting. So, and I believe our students are the same way, and this type of teaching is going to reach out to the different styles of learning. Okay, so that's my school tomorrow, learning style. Another idea I have in my school is that there's not going to be any state mandated tests. Okay, so there's not going to be an exit exam, no more tests of that nature. There's going to be assessments for our students because we have to see what they're mastering and at what level they're at, but there's not going to be this stressed out, we're teaching to the test mumbo jumbo. So no more of those things, because I'm sorry, multiple choice is not all of the above. It is not one size fits all. It doesn't fit for every student. And who can take a number 2 pencil and, bubble in some bubbles based on the 4 options that you gave me? What kind of test is that? How are you testing me on what I know? You're just testing me on how to take a test. It's just not really effective. And I don't know why our country is still doing our testing this way. So that's why my school tomorrow, this is going to be our assessment tool. Students are going to have something that's called an e-portfolio or an e-resume, and it's going to start from the beginning that they enter school all the way up to high school. So now I'm going ahead of myself, but they're going to enter school in preschool, and they're going to have this e-portfolio all the way up to high school. So it's going to be a compilation of their work. It's going to display their knowledge, what they the progression in which they're learning, and it's just going to be a great tool and valuable tool for them to see how they're learning, how they're developing. And the way that each student's going to move on to the next grade level is that there's going to be certain milestones or certain projects that each student is going to have to complete. And since there's 9 months in a school year, typical school year, there will be about 8 to 9 projects. Now these projects are going to be also divided into sub assignments. So it's not going to be just one project and bombarded on the child. It's going to be step by step, and it's going to be a process, and students are going to get it shouldn't be stressful for them. So, and teachers are going to be able to monitor to see how they're progressing, what they're mastering, what they're not getting. And it's just going to be a compilation of their collection of works of what they're learning. And going back to preschool, in my school, it'll be mandatory for students to go to preschool, starting at least by the age of 4, at least. And I say this because, one, I'm a preschool teacher and I see the benefits that it has for students, and 2, students need to be exposed to, I know kindergarten is kind of like a precursor to first grade and whatever's going to happen, but even before that, 5 years old, your child is learning from 0 to 5. Learning, that's like the best time to learn right there. It's the foundation to learn. So why not start beforehand and put your child in preschool? Preschool, they're going to learn their social skills. They're going to, learn more vocabulary. And another thing is that, something that we don't think about, but we want our children to go ahead and write their names. We want them to begin to write. But how can they begin to write if they don't know how to hold the pencil properly? And if you're looking at how I'm holding the pencil, there are tiny, tiny muscles in my hands and my fingers that allow me to do this. And I practice this. We practiced this when we were kids. And it just doesn't happen automatically. Children need to learn how to hold a pencil like this and strengthen the muscles in their hands. And that's what preschool is for. Preschool is all hands-on because they don't know how to write yet, but they know how to verbalize and they know how to communicate. And this is their practice. So that's why I think preschool is such an important part of my school of tomorrow. So moving on. Another idea that I want in my school tomorrow is that my school is going to be something called, it's like maybe like a homegrown school. Students are going to be able to interact with the school and be part of it. An idea that I'm thinking of is the cafeteria. The cafeteria has processed food, and if you read the nutrition label like I do, it's full of preservatives and all this other junk in there. It's cranked up with sugar. I can't believe the state thinks this is really healthy for our students. So with that in mind, I would like a garden in my school of tomorrow where students will be able to maintain it. They'll be able to record it, feed it, harvest it, and just be a part of the whole system. And since that food is going to be organic, that's going to be placed and used in their cafeteria food. So in cafeteria, there's going to be fresh food, salads, fresh vegetables, fruits, water, juice, things like that. A variety of foods for our students to experience and taste. So no more processed foods. I don't know where the state came up with, processed foods is healthier. I know it's much cheaper, but our students are going to find out what real food tastes like. Okay, so that's my school of tomorrow. I can go on and on. I have many more ideas, but that's just the gist of it. And, hopefully one day I'll be around to see my school of tomorrow in fruition. And even better yet, if I'd be able to work at that school of tomorrow. So if you like my school of tomorrow, you're awesome. Thanks for listening. Bye bye.